Hi, this is Alcan with another, usually I say another page from the files of the New York City Transit, but today we're going across the pond to London's Underground, or specifically the tubes. Now, you may have heard recently the passengers are attacking employees at an alarming rate on the New York City transit system. And of course, they're not following the rules either. Well, there's a lot of reasons why these things are happening. Probably because of the construction and other issues. Now, our story goes to London in 1987, where a similar problem over there led to a huge disaster. Now you can say, how can not following the rules cause a disaster? Well, just like in New York, London 1987, they were having their issues too, especially in the maintenance department. They were behind. The system is getting old, of course. But by then, the Victoria Line's equipment is like 20 years old. Everything else is 20 to 40 years old. So, not to mention, the infrastructure other than the trains is getting old too. So, what happened is London instituted a no smoking ban on the London Underground of the tubes. But it was not being enforced because passengers still light up. Unfortunately, this became a deadly combination. And you see, during that time period also, they were having fires, especially on the escalators. And many of the underground escalators have wooden steps. Very classical steps, beautiful, but they're getting old. But unfortunately, something else was happening. Since some of the maintenance and the cleanup was not taking regularly in a timely manner, the fires are starting to catch up. Now, one particular evening in 1987, there's supposed to be a light ceremony taking place, like in Christmas time. This is during the holidays. A little bit of light or something was coming from one of the escalators. So some passenger noticed it and went over to who was working in the ticket booth area, that's what they call it there, and reported it. But unfortunately, they couldn't see it. So the poor guy felt embarrassed and he left. Not long afterwards, someone else coming up the same escalator, as soon as he got up to the ticket booth area, hit the emergency button to stop the escalator. So they ran down and checked to see what was going on, and sure enough, a little flame was coming out from one of the escalators. So they called the fire brigade. They cordoned off the escalators. Other people had to use other ways to get out of that station. This is King Cross Station, by the way. They couldn't use a regular escalator, it was on fire. They had to use the Victoria line and the other lines. This is a very big station. This is like, almost like Times Square. So the fire brigade came, they went down, they checked on it, and the flames were getting a little higher. And they went back upstairs, so trying to get the equipment ready to start putting out the flames. However, before they had a chance to put water on this thing, all of a sudden, a huge ball of flames came rolling up the escalator into the ticket booth area, wiping out almost everybody in that area. 34 people dead, including the fire captain. One person did survive. We don't know how, but he managed to climb out of there. He got out of the way, but he was still badly burned. And when the firemen who did came in with with hoses and everything to try to take care of the situation. All of a sudden, they had to run down and try to grab as many people out of there they could, but the heat was too intense. They could not get anybody out. They were fatigued and tired. So as a result, they were powerless to stop this. Anyway, once the fire was out and they did the investigation, they were wondering how this small fire got so big. Well, as it turns out, a number of factors happened. The escalators were not being cleaned. There's debris keep dropping in there, passing drop stop all the time. And the grease, for some reason, it's not supposed to catch fire, but it started to catch fire because of all the stuff in it. Now, there was only one thing missing: the ignition. And they thought, well, maybe there were other incidents of small fires on this escalator. So they knew there was fire happening on this thing, but they don't know what caused the big one. So the ignition for this fire was missing. They thought, okay, well, we had a smoking ban, so I guess this happened for the old fires, but it shouldn't be happening to the new one because nobody's supposed to be smoking here. Right? Wrong. So it turns out when they were asking the staff, sure enough, the smoking ban was ineffective. People were still smoking. So probably cause was that when you're on the escalator, people go move on the left. People had to stay on the right if they want to, just ride the escalator up, not move. One thing you can do is smoke a cigarette, light it up, and if you're careless, throw a match down. Sometimes they don't put it out. So apparently this must have caused the fire. However, they still don't understand how this fire got so big, so hot, so fast. It was through investigation in science and computers that they found out something called the trench effect. It turns out the fire could go straight, like it normally does, but because, as you see how the glasses went down, that's how the fire did the same thing. It tilted towards the direction of the escalator, and it got so hot, the wooden steps all ahead of it got super heated. And when they got to a critical point, it started exploding in front of this flame, and the flame went up like a flamethrower. So that's how these 34 people died. So as a result, now they had to get rid of the wooden steps and do rigorous maintenance to prevent another tragedy from happening again. So this is what happens when you don't follow the rules. Usually nothing happens until something big happens. And unfortunately, 34 people paid for somebody's careless match. So this is Al Can saying so long for now, and don't forget to stop. Bye.